Alright guys, so once again, we got to talk about left-wing extremist college students losing their minds over a conservative coming on their campus to simply exercise their First Amendment rights, which is to speak. However, the left does not believe in your right to speak. Most importantly, they don't believe in your right to be heard. So therefore, if they disagree with you, they're going to protest so loudly that you can't be heard, right? They don't want to allow you to speak or express your opinions that they don't like. And this time they did this to Tomi Lahren, who is a prominent conservative who used to be a lot more popular maybe 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. And this one right here is really blowing my mind. I'm really scratching my head on this one because Tomi Lahren, she is not necessarily all on board with everything that the right agrees with, as she is pro-choice. And I remember her also saying that men are trash.
I mean, these women range in every body type and everything. They're all successful, they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. They, quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country in the age range of about 20 to I think about 55, maybe even 60. A lot of men are trash. A lot of men don't know how to treat women. A lot of men don't know how to really, quite frankly, pull their heads out of the sand and pay attention. So I am going to help you.
You know, because I was on your podcast talking about my little PSA to men where people say I was trashing men. There's a big difference. Andrew Tate actually trashes women. I don't trash men. I trash men that I think are soft, that I think are pathetic, that I think are little boys. And I think that there is an epidemic. I will call it a pandemic. The real pandemic is soft men in this country. And I know that you agree with me in a lot of ways, but I'll tell you this. There are so many women out there who are successful who can't find anybody out there because the successful men want the 25-year-olds who just want to be on Instagram and post their purses and their yachts and this and that. So I think we have a scarcity of real men, and I don't know how we change that.
Yeah, so she hasn't become a lesbian yet, and that is apparent because she's still coping with the supposed lack of good men out there. But with that being said, it seems that she does have some opinions that the left would seem to agree with. However, that's just not enough. That did not stop these University of New Mexico students from, again, losing their minds over the fact that she simply is speaking at a Turning Point USA event and at their campus. But before I get into that, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel and you support my channel, you can check out my merch, my donkeypox shirts, the disease that is affecting America, or my hashtag no dates off / hard work patriotic t-shirts, or my MAGA Hub shirts. There's plenty of merch for you guys to check out at my website, gforemanbcp.com. Get 20% off using discount code gforemanbcp. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll this clip of these left-wing extremists losing their minds. Take a look.
So I came here to speak in Albuquerque, University of New Mexico. The protest started. We were in a room. They were outside, of course, screaming and chanting the F word, discussing things. And then it turned violent. They started pushing the officers that were guarding the door, trying to bust in the door. Then at one point, they almost made it through the door. Officers having to barricade it. Not nearly enough officers were present. I don't think anybody knew it was going to be this bad. But then somebody pulled the fire alarm. Alarms are going off everywhere. We're all basically barricaded in this room. And to the liberals out there that are willing to get violent to their own classmates simply because a conservative came to campus is a testament to how disgusting you are.
Yeah, so maybe some of you guys should educate me on this. Maybe I'm ignorant on this. Maybe I just can't find anything on the internet. But I have not seen anything that Tomi Lahren has said that to me would classify her as a racist. I mean, she called BLM the new KKK, which I don't think is honestly that far off the mark. Right? I think she's pretty spot on with that. Evidenced by what you just saw there, which is some BLM protesters losing their mind over the fact that a white woman is speaking at an event. A white woman who happens to be conservative, even though she's not really as conservative as these people are making her out to be. They say that Tomi Lahren is alt-right. I don't know what about Tomi Lahren is alt-right. I've never heard any opinion from her that is alt-right. Again, she's pro-choice, and she said that men are trash. She sounds like a conservative-leaning feminist to me, right? She sounds like she's in the same kind of ballpark as Farrah, the new host, the new conservative host on The View, right? Yeah, she's right there, right? She doesn't seem to be too far out of the mainstream with her opinion. So I don't really understand why these woke revolutionaries are so upset about her speaking, because I think that on some issues, she probably actually agrees with them on some things. But see, again, this is the problem with the left. If you don't agree with me 100%, then you are a right-wing extremist, right? Which means that, again, you have to agree with left-wing extremist opinions, okay? That includes everything from, you know, this country's systemically racist, to the whole gender stuff, to we need full-blown European socialism. Yeah, if you don't agree with all that stuff, you're alt-right, okay? I mean, they call people in the Democrat Party closet Republicans, okay? They're conservatives. People like, you know, Cenk Uygur and Anna Conspiracy at the TYT, that's what they say about Democrats. But again, it just shows you how far gone they are. The left-wing extremists are in no man's land, right? They're way out there, okay? I can see why you might get mad about Matt Walsh or Ben Shapiro, even though I think it's ridiculous, right? I think it's ridiculous to be mad at all about somebody's speech, but I can get it. I can rationalize, okay, I understand based off some of the things they say, some of their opinions, especially Matt Walsh. I understand, I get it why you may have some feelings, right? But Tomi Lahren, right, come on now. Tomi Lahren is harmless, okay? She's harmless. I mean, Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh are harmless too. I'm just saying, in the spectrum of opinions that trigger people, I don't think that what Tomi Lahren says is all that triggered. Especially the stuff about BLM, which everybody at this point should be on board and understand that BLM is a fraud. It's a scam, okay? That anybody still talking about Black Lives Matter obviously is not educated on the movement, whether that be the organization or the grassroots movement itself. Both are toxic in my opinion. Okay? Both are not good for this country. Both are responsible for political violence and extremism in this country, which is exactly what you're saying there. Political violence and extremism that the Democrat Party refuses to address. And it's one of those things that I'm really sick and tired of seeing. I'm sick and tired of seeing these left-wing extremists every time they don't get their way, whether that be, you know, a Supreme Court decision doesn't go the way that they wanted to go, or there's some law that's passed they don't like, or somebody speaking on a campus they don't like. They just lose their minds. They're allowed to be violent. They're allowed to do the worst. Okay? They're allowed to threaten people. They're allowed to do all that stuff, and nobody can say anything to them because, hey, some of these are people of color. They're fighting for social justice. When a majority of these people that I see are white liberals, right? White liberals screaming about white supremacy when the only white supremacy that I'm seeing in this country is liberal white supremacy. Right? I'm not a big believer in this whole white supremacy stuff. I'm really not. But I must admit, if there is white supremacy in this country, it is most definitely liberal white supremacy, which is the ability to scream and protest and cry and to riot and to commit acts of violence and to threaten people in the name of social justice, in the name of trying to, you know, fight for colored folks and have no consequences whatsoever. That is white privilege in my opinion. Liberal white privilege. Okay? That is liberal white supremacy in my opinion. So, again, man, these people, they really just, they piss me off, man, because this is the most un-American thing I've ever seen in my life. In academia, right, you're supposed to be able to have even the most extreme opinions be acceptable. I would never protest a woke professor because they say woke things. I would just respond to that professor with my own opinions. But I'm not going to say that they shouldn't be able to speak. They shouldn't be able to talk. Even if they were speaking at a more conservative-leaning university, I should say, no. Let them speak. Let their ideas be spoken because that's where ideas belong. That is where this type of debate should happen in academia. But when academia is shutting down free speech and debate that's a problem. But again, these are the people that claim that, hey, you know, we're on the right side of history. Okay? You know, people on the right, the conservative, they're the threat to democracy. When they're on the side of the aisle that is against the First Amendment, they don't like the First Amendment. They would abolish the First Amendment and the Second Amendment if they had the opportunity, right? They would get rid of guns and get rid of people who disagree with them politically if they had the opportunity. That's what they would do. And I'm sick and tired of this, man. I'm tired of these colleges tolerating this nonsense, this anti-American protest, these anti-American riots and outrage from these left-wing extremists. These students should be expelled. Every single last one of them should be kicked off of campus and not allowed back on when they do this. It's one thing for you to say, hey, we're going to peacefully, you know, say, you know, we're going to go in and we're going to, you know, debate or state our opinion or whatever, or we don't agree with you. Fine. It's another thing to do this. To rage and riot and to almost break down the door, threaten people, put people's lives in danger because you're triggered over some words. But again, it's not just these students. It's these universities that need to be held responsible for allowing this to happen because they tolerate this stuff. They're afraid to punish these people for obstructing somebody's right to speak freely on campus. And until these universities start getting punished for this, then you're not going to see any change. They're going to continue to do it because they're afraid, they're scared to say anything about it. And some of the universities, they agree with the left-wing protesters, right? They don't want right-wingers on campus. So they allow it to happen to discourage right-wingers from coming on campus and speaking their mind. And see, if these left-wing academic institutions continue to turn a blind eye to this political violence, and protests that happen on these university campuses, somebody's going to get hurt. We've seen it time and time again. I've covered story after story after story about how conservative speakers basically have to be evacuated out of buildings due to these crazy, rabid leftist students. And these universities are going to have blood on their hands when somebody ends up getting hurt, because that's inevitably what's going to happen if they're allowed to continue to do this without consequence. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.